Hello and welcome back to the 4 to 7 Pod Ascension Podcast Network. Chris and Jerry, no initial pod. Good evening, good morning, good day. We're back to, as promised, to do part 2 of our 30 years of wild card celebration. So for this episode, we'll be going from we'll be doing the one series from 2010 up to 2024. So starting with 2010, so Jerry picked the first 15 from 95 to 09. Most of those were pretty much all of those were his picks. And I mean, I think he pretty much got all of them right. There may have been like one or two where maybe I would have picked a different one, but I think he pretty much nailed it with that. So he picked those. So I picked these next 15. So we'll see how much we agree or disagree. Starting with the 2010 playoffs, though, to be quite honest, I know the Yankees were going for a repeat in 2010, and obviously they lost to Texas in the 2010 ALCS. But I overall found the 2010 MLB playoffs to be largely unmemorable, and I was going to pick the 2010 ALDS for this year between the Texas Rangers and the Tampa Bay Rays, because that was the only series that went 5 games out of that was the only series that went the distance this whole postseason. Like that one went, that one was a best of 5 and it went 5. The World Series was over in 5 games. Both championship series were over in 6, and there were 2 sweeps in the ALDS as well. So I was going to default to this, but you did bring to my attention the 2010 National League Division Series between the San Francisco Giants, who would go on to win the World Series that year, their first of 3 that they would win in this decade, over the Atlanta Braves. While it was a 3-1 series win, every game in this series was quite the banger. You had every game was decided by a run, and you had an 11-inning game. You kind of had the birth of the birth of Madison Bumgarner in that game 5. That's kind of like where his playoff greatness really all began.
His first playoff start.
Yeah, that was his first playoff start. Hang on one second. What are you doing? Hey, get off of that. That's not yours. Sorry, my dog was about to fucking she looked like she was about to pee on my sweatshirt. But that was the first playoff start for Madison Bumgarner. So it was really like the birth of his greatness, if you will. You had Tim Hudson on this team, who didn't pitch until was it game 3, because he had to pitch game 162 just to make sure the Giants got into the playoffs. You had prime Tim Lincecum back in the day. So
game 1 for Lincecum in this series, complete game, 2-hit shutout, 1 walk, 14 strikeouts on 119 pitches. That's probably about as good as he's ever been. And I know he has multiple no-hitters, but first playoff start for him, first playoff game for the Giants in 7 years. They had just come off this September comeback to win the West. And it's like, okay, we finally get Tim Lincecum in a playoff game. What's going to happen? And he just goes out there and does that. That's probably the peak of his career. I know he pitched well in the World Series, but for individual excellence, that's about as good as he's ever been.
Yeah. Now, I know you're mad we're talking about the San Francisco Giants, but please stop barking.
Game 2, by the way, in this series, features a go-ahead, I believe, pinch hit home run in extra innings from Rick Ankiel, which is kind of the capper to his incredible story. Game 3 had 3 runs in the 9th inning, or I believe 2 in the 9th inning for the Giants to win this game because Brooks Conrad had 2 errors in the top of the 9th inning. He had 3 for the game.
Damn, that's rough.
If you ever say the words Eric Gregg to a Braves fan, they'll shudder. If you say Brooks Conrad, they might fall on the floor. It's that kind of name in the South.
Either that or they might knock you out.
And should be noted, Game 4, when the Giants won this series, that was Bobby Cox's last game as Braves manager. So quite literally the end of an era.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's kind of crazy, like thinking about how because like 95, well, I feel like the Braves got good before 95, but they won that World Series in 95.
Oh, they were.
But yeah, it's funny how like this starts with like the peak of like Bobby Cox and the Braves, and like, now like part 2, we're starting with like the end of that era. So it's like kind of like, yeah, pretty much like the beginning of the next, the next generation or the next wave of baseball.
He was the Braves manager for the first 24 years of my life. And he was the GM before that. So he genuinely put that team together and then kept it running through that entire streak. And then made sure that they were back on their feet by the time he left. They had, the streak ended in 06. They kind of hit a little bit of a lull, and then he got him back on the upswing by the time he left. So, truly one of the most important figures ever in that franchise.
Yeah, no, 100%. But yeah, it is. Yeah, it is kind of crazy. Yeah, that he revived them and then he left. But it is kind of crazy that the Giants beat the Braves, who were like the team of, until the Yankees, they were like the team of the 90s. And then, the Giants beat the Braves in 2010, like on their way to becoming the team of the 2010s. So that's kind of cool.
Tough break. Real tough break.
Yeah, you hate to see it.
I would say they could have been on their way to being the team of the 2020s. And then, what happened?
What happened? Yeah, I think there's really, especially if the Dodgers do win this World Series again, then there's really no debate who the team of the 2020s is.
Yeah, pack it up.
Yeah, pack it up. We'll see you in 2030, pal. And then let's move on to a much more memorable postseason.
This could have gotten the 2003 treatment, I think. It doesn't, but it's close.
Yeah, I mean, I figured I think it's worthy of the 2003 treatment, to be quite honest with you. But in the name of picking one, I did go with I did go with the World Series. I mean, one of the more memorable World Series of the 2010s. Cardinals beating the Texas Rangers in 7 games. You had the Cardinals and Rangers trade the first 2 games. Cardinals win game 3, 16-7. Then the Rangers come back with a 4-0 shutout. And then you have the Rangers on the verge. They go to game 5. They win that, and they go up 3-2, going back to St. Louis. And then who could forget that game 6 where they were 1 strike away from winning the World Series twice. And you had was it Alan Craig and David Freese hitting home runs to
so it was David Freese tripled to tie it in the 9th, and then he homered in the 11th to win it.
Yeah, he hit the walk-off, but Alan Craig did something in that game, if I'm not mistaken.
Also, the Rangers took the lead in the 10th and were 1 out away, and then Lance Berkman tied it.
That's right.
But that also sells this series short because the Cardinals win game 1 by 1. In game 2, the Rangers score twice in the 9th. Game 3 is the Pujols 3-homer game, which I think we've had 3-homer World Series games since, but still, like, Pujols is one of the greatest hitters ever. Like that's maybe, well, the home run off Lidge is probably his signature moment, but that's got to be too. And then Game 5 featured the hilarity of the Cardinals. I believe the Rangers rallied in the 7th or 8th inning, and the Cardinals go to get the bullpen up. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Tony La Russa wanted Jason Mott, who was his closer, to come in to try to stop the rally. But the bullpen coach couldn't hear the bullpen phone all that well, and he thought he said, "Get Lance Lynn up." And so whoever was in, like La Russa goes to give him the hook, and he gives it, so yeah, give me the righty. And Lynn comes in. Lynn goes to, and La Russa's like, "How are you doing here?" He's like, "You wanted me." He's like, "What?"
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Then after the game, they're like, "Yeah, the phone was messed up. We thought he said Lynn." And that cost him a World Series game.
Yeah. Did he not even throw a pitch? Or it looks like he threw 4 pitches in that.
Yeah, I think he gave up the go-ahead hit, I believe.
Yeah. Well, I think it was a go-ahead walk, actually. Because
you're right.
Looking at the box score, he didn't give up a hit, but I just see the 0 in the innings pitched like in the box score, and then at first, like, I didn't look at the rest of it, and I was like, oh, did they just bring him out and then be like, wait, no, like, fuck you, like, get out.
Well, they had to get Mott loose too.
Yeah,
Mott was the next guy that came in.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and he got that. He got that last out for him.
Octavio Dotel was on this Cardinals team. He gets the loss in this game, by the way.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yes.
But what I can tell you, I actually do know the home plate umpire for Game 6, Gary Cederstrom. He used to live in my area here in the off season. Long story about how I know him, but I actually met him right after that series. That winter was the first time I met him, and he and his crew got a ring for working that series. I was like, man, and then I looked it up, and it's like he's the home plate umpire for one of the greatest games ever. And so I remember I asked him, I said, at what point did you realize, like, okay, this is pretty spooky. This is unbelievable here. And he said, when you work the plate, you don't really actually focus on the game that's in front of you. Like, you don't get caught up in what happens specifically.
You're just so focused on the zone and doing your job.
If you start thinking about that, you're going to lose your zone, and that's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
He said, it did enter my mind when Alan Craig homered in the 8th, and I think that made it 7-5 maybe, or it got the Cardinals within a run, and he's like, man, this has been a lot.
Yeah.
And he said, but the whole scope of what happened didn't really hit him until they got to the locker room about 20 minutes after the game, and they're all getting out of their gear, and they were like, my God, that was insane. It took them that long because they were so amped, and they were so, it's like, okay, this is extra innings of Game 6. Like, this is a potential winner game. Like, we can't screw this up. And then getting out of that mode, and when you have a walk-off home run, the home plate umpire has to make sure that the guy touches home plate.
First. Yeah, you're touching home.
And then so finally they decompressed after 20 minutes, and it was, my God, that was awesome.
Yeah. No, I can only imagine. I'm sure looking back on it, they probably have like a whole different perspective on it, and like, now seeing like how that game aged in baseball history, like, the fact we're devoting like this much time even just to talking about like that one game, because that was like, this whole series was bonkers, as you illustrate, and I did not mean to sell it short. I hope you know.
Oh, no, you're good. That's why I'm there.
But yeah, that Game 6 alone was just like one of the most memorable baseball games that I could think of over the last like 10 to 15 years. I mean, I remember where I was and what I was doing during that game. Like, I was in college. I was at a bar, and I remember everyone's just like getting drunk and dancing, clubbing or whatever. And I just remember like me and Paul, who was on the show earlier in the year. We were, we were just drinking, like, we were just standing at the bar, like with our eyes glued to the TV. Paul was like, his second favorite team was the Cardinals, because he was a big Pujols fan. And I remember, I forget if it was the 10th inning where, like, I think in the 9th or 10th inning, someone was intentionally walked. I think it was Mike Napoli was intentionally
It
walked.
was.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, so they intentionally walk Mike Napoli, and I remember Paul just crashing the fuck out. He's like, "You fucking pussies!" Like, what? Or no, they intentionally walked Pujols. No, because Napoli played. He was mad that the Rangers intentionally walked Pujols, and he's like screaming at the TV. He's like, "You fucking pussies!" People are looking over, like, "Is this guy okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, he's fine. Just, it's the World Series." And then yeah, so I remember that, and then, like, I remember, like, going crazy when David Freese hit the home run. Like, yeah, that was a great one. And then, yeah, Game 7 was it was a pretty good game at first. I mean, both teams score 2 runs in the first inning, then the Cardinals get one in the third. They get a couple in the fifth, and one in the seventh.
Put them ahead for good.
Yeah, Freese put them ahead again for good. Kind of etched his name. He made sure what he did the night before wasn't for nothing. And yeah, kind of just etched that team into, like, one of the most memorable teams. Just that whole season, like the way that season ended on the last day, and the way the Cardinals got in with like 83 wins, and to take it all the way to, actually, no, the what am I saying? The Cardinals won 90 games. I don't know why I thought the Cardinals only won. Maybe I'm thinking about the 06 Cardinals. They won like.
This was the Cardinal team that came from 9 back against the Braves.
Yeah, they did make a crazy comeback to get in, but they did finish with 90 wins. I for some reason I thought that they were also like an 85 win team. But
here's something I think about, not often, but it does cross my mind. I mentioned the Rangers go ahead in the 10th inning of Game 6. That was on a 2-run homer by Josh Hamilton. And I wonder if Texas finishes it from there, does the last 13 years go any differently for Josh Hamilton? And I'm not even talking about on the field. I'm more so talking about everything after.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it's kind of grim, but
it is pretty grim.
It's really sad to see how that's like. I think everyone was hoping that he had, like, beaten it for good when he made it back to the sport, and not gone that way.
He could have done more cocaine too. So it could have always went in that direction. I don't know.
There's that.
Yeah. No, yeah, I don't know. As far as that goes, it's difficult to say if that changes anything, but I don't know. I like to think probably not. Like, it seems like if you're someone who likes to party like that, I think if you're someone who likes to party like that, you're someone who likes to party like that. And I don't know if winning the World Series versus losing it necessarily changes that trajectory in, like,
True.
a man's personal life. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's definitely, I guess, it's definitely possible, or worth at least the discussion.
Oh, I mean, I guess we can move on to 2012. We'll move on to
yeah, on that note.
Yeah,
on that note, let's 2012, the world was supposed to end this year. For 2012, maybe a little biased on this one, but I don't even think so. But for me, 2012, it was the Yankees over the Orioles in the American League Division Series. Am I being biased with that, or was there a better one?
Pretty strong all the way through. You have the Yankees are trying to run it back, and they're facing a division rival, which
Yeah,
they hadn't
and this
really
was like
faced
the
any other-
first time in a while that Baltimore was good.
first in 15 years. So those Baltimore crowds were up for it. That's one of those like there's certain crowds you remember where it's like, man, that place was loud.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I don't say this as a slight to ball. I don't know if they've matched that. Like even a couple years ago when they got back after the tank. Even that didn't compare to this because it's 15 years where not only did they not make it, they really weren't good.
Yeah.
So you get back and they had just won the wild card game, and you're playing the Yankees, which and this is a kind of a compliment to the Yankees, but it's like when everyone gets up for you that way to play you in the playoffs. I mean, that's kind of a sign of respect that it's like, man, it matters that we're playing them. But I just remember how loud it was for those two games, no matter what. And there's great individual moments, great individual performances in here. I mean, and I to be fair, I mentioned how good the Baltimore crowd was. You had 3 really tight games in Yankee Stadium for games 3 through 5. They were just as up for it as well and had some pretty great moments there too.
Yeah, and I didn't even realize that they were still doing the 2-3 format at this point in time.
So this was when
was this the last year?
They fixed it early on in the process. The reason that they were doing it this year was because they had instituted the wild card game like not long before the regular season started. And because they instituted it and they already had the playoff schedule set up, they're like, well,
they wanted to clean up the travel logistics.
Yeah, they were like, well, it's too late to fix it. We'll just do 2-3 this year. And then next year they went back to 2-2-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was the 1 year post 2000 that they did that.
Yeah, and I mean outside of game 1, which the Yankees win 7-2, every game was every game in this series was very close. You had
game 1, the Yankees scored 5 in the 9th inning. That was the difference.
Yeah. So so that game was even that game was even close until the end. I mean, yeah, the Yankees go up 1-0 in the first inning, and then you had the Orioles get 2 back in the third. Yankees tie it the next inning, and then they explode for 5. They explode for 5 runs in the 9th. Russell Martin hit a home run.
We had Ichiro in here.
Yeah, Ichiro had a double. Ichiro had an RBI double. Cano had a couple of ribbies. Teixeira, Swisher as well. So yeah, all the you had all the old guns from the Yankees going off in that 9th inning to kind of set the tone for this series, or so you thought they set the tone, but then Baltimore comes back and wins the next game 3-2, beating Andy Pettitte in that one. And Pettitte went 7 innings, gave up 3 runs, and then Dave Robertson comes in, but the Orioles were just the Orioles were up like 3-1. The Yankees get 1 back in the 7th, and then the Orioles bullpen just with Jim Johnson and Darren O'Day. Wow,
everyone just remembers Britton being the Orioles bullpen, but they had some horses, and Jim Johnson was one of them. Darren O'Day was
Ryan Matthews.
Darren O'Day was a Met for like 5 minutes. We got him in a Rule 5 draft, and we were going to send him back down, and it was, you can't do that. He's a Rule 5 guy. Typical Omar Minaya disaster class. But anyway, back to how awesome this series was.
Yeah. And then you have Yeah, then you have game 3, which goes 12 innings. I'm going to be honest. My memory at the moment, as far as how this game ended, well, it looks like it ended on a Raul Ibanez walk-off home run in the 12th inning.
And how did they get there?
How did they get there? You're gonna have
Also
to
a
remind.
Raul Ibanez home run.
Oh yeah, that was his second home run of that game. Yeah, this was the birth of Raul is cool.
I went back to watch the highlights of that the other day, and I didn't know Sterling also did. Raul be seeing you in the right field bleachers.
Yeah, I don't
I
have
do in
any
fact have to
recollection.
hand it to him.
Yeah. Yeah, gotta hand it to the GOAT. But yeah, Raul was definitely cool in this one.
It definitely changes the whole scope of the series, because if the Yankees go down 2-1,
yeah. And it looks like I can't remember why off the top of my head, but it looks like Derek Jeter came out of this game and Jason Nix was subbed in for him. Was that well, yeah, it looks like Jason Nix had one at bat. I don't know if Jeter got hurt at some point in that game or if he was just
I'm going to look this up right now, because obviously we know what happened later on in that postseason, but I don't know if that was the start of it.
No, Jeter definitely, Jeter I remember he shattered his ankle in the ALCS. But yeah, it looks like he was subbed out of this game. Then in game 4, whatever that injury was, I guess he might have been hurt because he might have tweaked something because Jeter was the DH the following day.
Jeter left game 3 against the Orioles in the 9th inning after apparently re-aggravating a lingering injury in his left leg. Struck out to end the 8th and stumbled away from home plate after swinging and missing. He was replaced at shortstop by Jason Nix in the top of the 9th. He was hobbling noticeably while running out a 3rd inning triple that scored Russell Martin and appeared to be limping on his way back to the dugout between innings.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure when he really hurt himself for good in the ALCS, I'm pretty sure it was also that left leg that he had injured.
He said he'd been playing on this since mid-September, so.
Sheesh. Yeah, I don't doubt it. Eric, your boy Eric Chavez was on this Yankee team. He actually pinch hit for A-Rod in this game 4.
My boy Endy Chavez was playing for Baltimore in this game.
Yeah, you had all the Chavez action in this one.
Man, there were some names that pitched in this game for the Yankees. Boone Logan, Chavez in here, David Phelps, Derek Lowe pitched the last. Derek Lowe got the. Oh, I'm looking at game 4. In game 4, I do not remember Derek Lowe, the Yankee. Wow. What is anything?
I don't even have recollection of Derek Lowe in a Yankee uniform. Then you had game 5, which the Yankees win. Yankees win 3-1. It's a pitcher's duel for the whole game. I mean, you had CC on the bump for this game. He goes, he went the whole game. He had a complete game. 9-inning, 1-run ball, 4 hits, 2 walks, struck out 9. And he threw 121 pitches to shut the door, which was definitely more needed this year than in prior years, because it was I guess this was the last Yankee team in Mariano Rivera's career that went to the playoffs, and this was also the year that Mariano Rivera tore his ACL, was in 2012.
Oh shit, that's right.
Yeah, because
I always think it's like 12 or 13, and I can never keep it straight. But yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he tore his ACL. I think it it was in like May, and I think he was like fielding. If I remember
It was during
correctly,
BP.
it was during BP, and for some reason he was like fielding fly balls in the outfield, which I'm not sure if that's normal or not for pitchers or relief pitchers to do.
I've heard for some teams yes, some teams no.
Yeah, but that happened, and it's like, oh yeah, Mariano tore his ACL and is out for the year, and then 2013 was his last season, and that's when he like came back, and they had like Pettit, come. I forget.
Yeah, the last home game.
Yeah, I think they had like Jeter and Pettit like come to like get to take him out of his last home game, so that was a cool moment. But
I think we've talked about this before with CeCe when he went into the Hall of Fame, but to me, I think this is his defining start as a Yankee. I mean, I know he's won World Series and such, but this is, you get a guy like CeCe to go out and take the ball in a winner go home type game at home against your division rival. We can't lose to this team that hasn't been good for 15 years and let them have their moment in our stadium, and we got to make it to the next round. It's your responsibility. And CeCe went the distance. That is exactly the type of game that you want him to have. When you sign a pitcher of that caliber to that contract, you're hoping he gives you that kind of game at some point.
Yeah.
When they needed him to, he did.
Yeah. Angel Hernandez was the left field umpire for this game. Or no, he was the third base umpire. But this was back when they don't still do outfield umpires for the playoffs, do they? They stopped doing that, right?
I think they do. I'm pretty sure that's always been the thing. Is it's 4-man in the regular season and 6 for the playoffs, as far as I know.
If they do still do it, If they do still do it, and I haven't noticed them as much. I don't know. Maybe they're
also a good. Nope. I looked at the Seattle-Toronto box score. They did have outfield umpires tonight.
Maybe they just do a better job of Photoshop of hiding them or something. But yeah, I feel like I don't notice them anymore. I thought they stopped doing that.
Well, they also haven't blown any calls either, so there's that.
True. Yeah. Yeah. I think the funniest blown call I can remember in a playoff game was probably that Braves. I think was it Braves Cardinals, and when they started throwing all the bottles on the field. I know it was. Yeah, I know it was a Braves home game. I think it was against the Cardinals. And I want to say that was from this year too, from 2012.
That was actually the first wild card game, because that was like a late afternoon game, and then Orioles Texas was that night.
Yeah, and then that game went into the night because I think by the time the bottles were flying on the field, it was dark.
Oh out.
Yeah.
That was another game that my friend Gary worked, and he was the second base umpire, and he was basically like, I'm like, couldn't you do that? And he's like, once it's out of the infield, I can't do anything. That's not my call anymore. That's the outfield call.
Oh, so it was the outfield umpires who called the infield fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, an infield fly rule on a ball in the outfield. And you wonder why we're gravitating more and more towards robo umps. No offense to your friend.
He's retired now. We're good.
But yeah, Curtis Granderson hit a home run in this game. You had Ichiro hit 2 doubles and had 3 RBIs. Raul was cool as well. He had his third RBI of this series. So
one of the guys that I say this with respect. Thank God, I was so happy when he retired. That guy killed us in Philly. Killed us.
Who, Raul Ibanez?
Oh yeah, it's like, man, they already got Howard, Utley, Rollins, Worth, Burrell.
Yeah, and then you got
this guy from nowhere. What the hell?
Yeah. Raul Ibanez really carried this. I mean, CeCe did his part for sure too, but Raul Ibanez offensively really carried this team. This team as far as they went, the 2012 Yankees.
And just, I mean, I don't know how Yankee fans feel about that series. I don't know if the Jeter injury basically was just like the sign of, well, I guess this ain't happening, or if it was just as simple a case of, yeah, the Tigers were a buzzsaw. It's just a bad matchup.
I think it was apparent before Jeter got hurt that the Tigers were going to be a problem. So I think it was game 2 where Jeter got hurt, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it might have been game 1 because I think Ibanez tied that game too.
So, and that game went to
extra. 4 in the 9th.
Yeah, no, actually, yeah, and it looks like Jason Nix subbed in for Jeter in that game as well. It looks like Jeter took all the at bats, but yeah, Jason Nix subbed in at the end of that game. So yeah, it must have been. Yeah, I think he hurt himself like late in that game.
It was the 12th when the Tigers scored all their runs. Yeah, Johnny Peralta singles to short. Jason Nix replaces Derek Jeter playing short. So that was, yeah. The Tigers already had the lead at that point. Delman Young doubled. Johnny Peralta singles, Jeter injured on the play, and then Andy Dirks singles. And that, for some reason, I thought the Tigers had scored like a bunch of runs in the 12th inning of that game, and it was a blowout. It was only a 6-4 final, but yeah.
Yeah. You had it. Ichiro and Raul Ibanez hitting 9th inning home runs just to get to that point. But yeah, I feel like it was, because we were losing that game 4-0, and then, we come back with the 4-run 9th inning. So like even, for the 8 innings before that, I was definitely feeling like, man, this Tigers team is like real tough. Then that happens, and there's like a glimmer of hope. Yeah, then Jeter, then Jeter shatters his leg, and it definitely felt over at that point. But I think even with a healthy Derek Jeter, I don't think the Yankees really had any shot of winning this series, to be honest. The Tigers were just a better team, and they're obviously they've been one of those teams that just always seem to have our number in the playoffs. But moving on to 2013.
Speaking of the Tigers.
Yeah, speaking of the Tigers, 2013, we have the ALDS between the very same Detroit Tigers and the Oakland Athletics, which feels good to say.
R.I.P.
Yes, indeed. But this was a series full of close games and bangers and barn burners. You had a 3-2 Tigers win in game 1 with Max Scherzer, who we mentioned, I guess, in the last video at this point. But Max Scherzer absolutely shoving for 7 innings, struck out 11 in that game. I think he gave up 1 home run, but you had a pretty good pitcher's duel between Max Scherzer and a much younger Bartolo Colon for the A's. But the Tigers get the better end in game 1. Then the A's come back with a 1-0 shutout in game 2. The very a
walk-off in the bottom of the 9th.
Yeah, walk-off in the bottom of the 9th. Was it a home run, or it was
a Stephen Vogt single?
A Stephen Vogt single. You don't say.
Man, there are so many guy rememberings. I'm just looking at this line. Austin Jackson, Coco Crisp, Met legend, derogatory, Jed Lowry, Josh Donaldson, Brandon Moss, Met legend, complimentary, Yoenis Cespedes.
Yeah, Yankee legend, derogatory Josh Donaldson.
Seth
You had
Smith.
just a legend in general, and Al Albuquerque taking the
Yes.
L in this one. Who's Al?
Jose Iglesias was the starting shortstop for I think the only two guys still playing from this game are Justin Verlander and Jose Iglesias. And who would have thought we would be saying that sentence in 2013?
Yeah, Rick Porcello gave up the game-winning hit.
It was the only batter he faced.
Yeah.
Grant Balfour's in here. Drew Smiley's in here.
Yeah.
So I stand corrected. Sonny Gray started this game for Oakland. So 3 guys.
Yankee legend, both complimentary and derogatory, depending what year it is.
Okay. I was wondering where that was going to go.
It's a little bit of both. Sonny Gray was very good in 2017 when we first acquired him. 2018 he was up and down, and then by 2019 it was time for him to get the fuck out of there. But he did come through. He did provide us with some good playoff moments. So yeah, I guess at the end of the day, I have more good things to say about Sonny Gray than bad. But when it was bad, it was bad.
I do have to say, though, that Max Scherzer's best moment in this series actually comes in Game 4. They're down 2-1, and they are leading 5-4. Yeah, 5-4 going to the top of the 8th. And they bring him out of the bullpen. Or actually, well, he had pitched the 7th. Oakland had tied the game at 3-3, and then they go up 4th. Detroit goes ahead 4-3. Oh, wait, no. Oakland went ahead 4-3 in the top of the 7th. The Tigers get 2 in the bottom half to make it 5-4. And then strap yourself in for the roller coaster that is the 8th inning here. Brandon Moss walks to lead off. Cespedes doubles to right, so runners at second and third. They intentionally walk Seth Smith. He strikes out Josh Reddick, strikes out Stephen Vogt. Alberto Callaspo pinch hits for Eric Sogard, which correct move.
Eric Sogard line out to center.
He was, and then he gets Callaspo to line out to center to get out of a bases loaded no out jam with a 1-run lead, and the Tigers tack on a couple more in the bottom of the inning. They go to Oakland for Game 5. Justin Verlander shuts the door and shuts out the A's in Game 5 in Oakland for the second year in a row. And the Tigers are back off to the ALCS. But Scherzer somehow getting out of that.
When they were pushed to the brink.
And there is a video of this on YouTube if you can find it. He threw a 3-2 pitch to Josh Reddick. That ball is at Josh Reddick's foot going inside, and he got Reddick to swing at it. I'll always have my gripes with Max Scherzer because of 2022, but I can't do nothing but respect what he did in that spot.
Yeah.
Just a preposterous pitch to throw.
Yeah,
why the fuck would he have done that for us?
Yeah. I've seen what you've done for others, but that was an absurd pitch, and definitely a very good playoff series. I would say moving on to 2014, we once again have the Oakland A's. This time in a wild card game for the ages. It was the Kansas City Royals who would go on to win the pennant, and the Oakland A's in one of the more memorable games, one of the more memorable playoff games I can remember watching over the past decade or decade and a half. You had a 12-inning, 9-8 win for the Kansas City Royals. I mean, this game was kind of a barn burner, right out of the gate, because right out of the gate, the A's score 2 in the first inning. Royals answered back with a run, and then they get another 2 in the third. The A's then explode for 5 runs in the 6th inning. And then the Royals, the Royals come roaring back. They drop 3 in the 8th. They get 1 run in the 9th inning to then set the stage for a pretty wild extra innings as well. And then this was like the That's What Speed Do Royals team.
That's how they started the comeback.
Yeah, this is how they started the comeback, and then the Royals walk it off. I forget. I think was it a walk-off double that someone hit?
So it's officially ruled a single, but it was a double down or a single down.
It was a hit down the line. I do remember that because I remember being like half asleep watching this game.
Part of the reason with the That's What Speed Do, people forget John Lester was the A's starting pitcher in this game. He started the bottom of the 8th inning, and Giovanni Soto was the A's catcher to start this game. He left with an injury, and so Derek Norris took over, and he didn't really throw runners out. So you got a catcher who doesn't really throw anybody out with a pitcher who won't throw to first. And at that point, it was known. Like I feel like
you barely even look at first.
Yeah, I feel like this was the year where that started to become a thing of like John Lester just does not try to throw guys out or like even really check guys. So bottom of the 8th, Alcides Escobar singles. He's still second. Nori Aoki grounds out. Escobar to third. Lorenzo Cain singles 7-4. Lorenzo Cain steals second. Fuckhead Eric Hosmer walks. Lester is pulled. Billy Butler singles. Billy Butler singles. Lorenzo Cain scores 7-5. Billy Butler is lifted for Terrence Gore. Terrence Gore singles. Wild pitch by Gregerson. Fuckhead Eric Hosmer scores 7-6. So yeah, it's 7-6. Alex Gordon, who has tormented me for a decade, walks. And then 2 strikeouts to get out of the inning. Bottom 9. Leadoff single, Josh Willingham. Jared Dyson pinch runs for him. Escobar bunts Dyson over. Dyson steals third. Aoki sack fly. And that's how 7-3 becomes 7-7.
And then, remind me what occurred in the top of the 12th for the A's to take the lead in this game.
So, first off, this inning starts with Brandon Finnegan pitching, who pitched in the College World Series that year. Still one of my favorite things is he pitched in the College World Series and the actual World Series. I think he's the only guy to do that in the same year. But he walks Josh Reddick. What?
Yeah, he's got to be, right?
Well, I mean, I know the list of guys who have played in the College World Series and actual World Series. Like, it's not as big as you think.
Yeah, but to do it in the same year, I doubt there's anyone else that's done that.
Jed Lowry bunts him over, so runners at second. They take Finnegan out for Jason Frazier. Alberto Callaspo pinch hits. There's a wild pitch, so Reddick to third. Alberto Callaspo singles to left. That scores Reddick. And then the Royals, in the bottom of the 12th, leadoff ground out. Fuckhead Eric Hosmer triples.
A lot of fuckhead Eric Hosmer in this game.
I cannot stand that motherfucker. Christian Colon singles on the infield. Ties the game. Dan Otero had been brought on to save the game at this point because they'd already used their closer in the 9th. So Fernando Abad, never a guy you want to be bringing in with your season. You want to bring in a guy named Abad.
Yeah.
With the season on the line.
Yeah, that's definitely not a good.
Folks, I say that, by the way, when we had football at my school, one of our corners was named Abad. He was actually good.
True.
Alex Gordon hits a foul out into third base territory. Wonder if we're going to hear that again. They bring in Jason Hamill to replace Fernando Abad. Christian Colon steals second, and then Salvador Perez singles, game over. But I think most people would tell you, because I remember this well, was that this was basically the end of that A's era of contention. They trade Josh Donaldson after this season. They had already traded Cespedes for Lester, and they knew full well that they weren't going to retain Lester. I believe they traded for Jeff Samardzija too, knowing full well they weren't going to pay him either.
This is kind of like the final. This is kind of like the final version of like the Moneyball A's.
Well, even then, there's not a lot of overlap of. I mean, I guess this was. I think Billy Beane was still there at this point, so this might have been like the second iteration because they have that stretch from 2000 to 06 where they're contending every year. And then they hit a dip. And then they came back up in 2012. And for those 3 years, they were right there and just they could never get one more hit or one more break.
Yeah, 2014 was like 2014 was like that final year. And then I think they had like a 2020 appearance when they expanded the playoffs in the COVID season. But aside from that, I don't think they've been back to the playoffs.
Well, they did make the wild card game in 18, and
that's right, we beat them. Yeah,
because they decided to use an opener, which was ridiculous.
Yeah,
and then they hosted in 19, and the Rays beat them. And you did mention 2020, and that was it. But everyone always said that A's team in 2014 was supposed to be the best team out of that run.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, they hit a slump and they're like, well, we need an ace. So they traded Cespedes, which was a shocking thing then because he was kind of the heartbeat of that team, for Lester, who they knew wasn't going to stay. They end up finishing behind the Angels. And but about midway through that year, are the A's going to win the World Series?
Yeah.
And then they just hit a slide, and this was basically the end of that. Yeah,
this was like the nail in the coffin, but definitely a wild way to go out.
Yeah, and for Kansas City, I mean, it should be noted this was where the idea of Kansas City having great home field starts from, because this was the biggest game in almost 30 years there.
Yeah,
and not only had they not been in the playoffs, but they really were never close.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You finally get a taste of it, and it's that.
Yeah, they weren't
going to lose the rest of the AL playoffs from there, and I mean they damn near pulled it off in the World Series, and kind of wish they fucking had.
All right, yeah, I do got to. I know that you have your gripes with the Royals. I do got to get to that ballpark next year before it goes away.
That's fair. If nothing else, at least to see the fountain. The fountain's cool.
Yeah, that's the main thing. That's the main thing I want to see. But yeah, no, that was definitely definitely one of the better games of the definitely one of the better baseball games, playoff games of the 2010s. Probably not the best, but I think it's a solid. I think you could make a case for it being in the top 5 or at the very worst, the top 10. 2015 ALDS, you had the Blue Jays. You had the Blue Jays defeating the Tigers in this one.
Oh, you mean the Rangers?
Oh, yeah. I do mean the Rangers. I don't know why I wrote defeating the Tigers. Yeah, no, it was the Rangers. I was like reading the text I sent you. For some reason, I said Tigers. Don't know why, but it was indeed the Texas Rangers. Yeah, Blue Jays beat the Rangers. Of course, you had, this is where Joey Bats had his moment with the bat flip, but, I don't think it does it justice to, that was obviously the signature moment, which that did happen in Game 5.
Really, this series can be distilled into Game 5, and Game 5 can really be distilled into the 7th inning of that game. Just you will never see a crazier inning of baseball on both ends ever.
Yeah, no, I mean, The games before this, there was some good games leading up to it too. I mean, game 1 was pretty close. Game 2 went 14 innings.
Oh, yeah.
Game 3 was, game 3. Games 3 and 4, the Blue Jays kind of pulled away, but yeah, and the Blue Jays also came back from down 2-0 to win this series. They won 3 in a row, 2 in Texas, and then came back home, and Joey Bats called the game.
Yeah, that was one of those things that you knew you were watching something special
When it was
not
going
that inning, but like when the Bautista bat flip happened. I remember the first time they showed that replay, I'm like, I'm gonna be seeing that forever. I know it.
Like, I'm gonna be owning T-shirts with that.
That's right. I should have wore that tonight. That's my fault.
It's all good. You wore it to trivia trivia a couple of nights ago, didn't you?
I did not put up a performance worthy of wearing that shirt, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that you were going to trivia and that you had that you were wearing that shirt, I was like, man, they're gonna win and he's gonna like bat flip the trophy.
I would have broke it, but well, that's because Tuesday was the 10th anniversary of it, and that's one of those. I'll remember exactly where I was for that. I was still because I had gone up to New York for game. Well, first I went to Rochester for my friend's wedding on Sunday, and then I was in New York for games 3 and 4 for Mets Dodgers, and I had a day or two to lay over, so I was still in Brooklyn. This was the day after Mets Dodgers game 4, so I was in Brooklyn with nothing to do, and we were just hammered. And it's just like I was at my boys' place, and I'm just like, man, this is great. Game 5 of a playoff series that I have no attachment to, and every single moment is dramatic. This is awesome.
Yeah. No, I remember watching that game. I distinctly remember watching that game in my room. It was this was a 4:00 start, and I'm trying to think. Yep. I may have October 14th, 2015. Like, what was I doing with my life at that point in time? I'm not even sure, but for some reason I remember being at home watching that game, or maybe I had just gotten home for like the end of it. I don't know, but I do remember distinctly being in my room in my apartment at the time and watching that Joey bat flip happen in real time. And I was just like, oh, that was sick. Like, anyone who doesn't like bat flips,
you lost that one.
Can fuck off after that forever.
I always thought it was funny to me that that's called the bat flip, because I always considered it a toss. The way it's just like he stood there, and to me, the way he throws it, to me, it's like him going, "Get this off me."
It's kind of it's kind of like a bat chuck almost.
Yeah, I get the spirit of it. Like I feel like I'm getting too much into semantics, but there was so much defiance and just like, yeah, I just took your shit and sent it 420 feet. Get out of here. And I love that.
Yeah, no, that shit was gangster. And then of course, what do you call it? You had the carryover of this series into the next year when Joey Bats slid into second base when they played Texas, I think in like May that year, and then him and Rougned Odor got into a fight.
And then there was a great sign that came out when they played in next year's ALDS, or that year's ALDS after that, which was, I'd rather get punched in May than be knocked out in October.
Yep, I do remember that.
Bars.
Yeah, that is definitely baseball bars if I've ever heard a baseball bar.
Say this for Jose Bautista. He ate that punch. Like,
oh yeah.
I mean, Odor connected, got him with everything, and didn't fall.
Yep, he ate it. Yeah, no, he ate it. That was definitely one of the more memorable baseball fights, I would say.
Also hilarious that Adrian Beltre immediately after that, like, just basically picks Bautista up. Is like, we got to get you out of here.
And just carries him away.
This is going to get so much worse. I'm taking you out of here.
Yeah. like Leonard Williams carrying Darren Lee away from a bar fight.
That's good.
That's a deep cut. If you know, you know. Moving on though to 2016. 2016 was 2016 was a pretty good postseason, but obviously the most memorable series and the best series in this was definitely the World Series between the Cleveland Indians at the time versus the Chicago Cubs. Chicago Cubs, of course, win this in 7 games. Cleveland wins game 1, 6-0. You once again have another playoff blunder from John Lester, who started game 1 for the Cubs. Yankee legend, complimentary Corey Kluber, Wentz pitched 6 shutout innings in this game. Complimentary Yankee legend Andrew Miller had a 2-inning hold performance, and then Cody Allen closed out that game. This was the year where the Yankees traded Andrew Miller. The Yankees kind of sold off some assets at the trade deadline this year. They traded there's a few Yankee legends in this series. They sold off Andrew Miller to Cleveland for Clint Frazier, which just didn't it seemed, and I was hyped about that trade at the time. I thought it was a great trade because I think Clint Frazier was like the number 4 prospect in baseball, or the number 4 prospect in Cleveland system at the time. So I was like, okay, like that's a good fucking return for Andrew Miller. There might have been some other pieces in that trade, but
I do wonder. I mean, because Andrew Miller, I believe, won ALCS MVP for what he did, and basically up until the last time he took them out in this series, probably would have been World Series MVP too if Cleveland had been able to finish the deal, which would have been maybe the greatest relief performance ever, because 2 MVPs for a guy who's not even closing, yeah, that's just not happening again. But
yeah,
there's still a lot to go between now and then.
Yeah, a lot to go. Chicago comes back in game 2 and they win that game. They win that game 5-1. Derogatory human Trevor Bauer took the L in that one. Pitching only 3 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, for an ERA of 5, and pretty much put his team behind the 8 ball in that one.
Why have a fully working pitching hand in the postseason when your team hasn't won in almost 70 years? When you can get that sweet drone footage?
Yeah,
dumbass.
What a moron! I don't know. I've also I own a drone. It's probably not as big as whatever, or as crazy as whatever the fuck Trevor Bauer was doing, but I had a drone, and I had a little phase where I was playing with a drone. I still have a drone. I just I don't know. I used it for a little while. I was like, this is fucking awesome, and then I kind of just didn't care anymore. So I haven't flown my drone in a while, but I do have one. And my main thought was how do you hurt yourself using one of these? It's pretty easy. I don't know. If I could do it, I don't know what his problem is. Was this or it was was it the ALCS where he fucked up his hand with the drone?
But his hand was still I remember them talking about it during the World Series.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, and then he pitched very poorly in this game. So
not for the last time.
That checks out. Definitely not the last time he would pitch poorly, neither in this series nor in life. Game 1, or no, game 3, Cleveland comes away with a 1-0 shutout win. It looks like Coco Crisp had the lone RBI in that game.
Josh Tomlin started for Cleveland, didn't make it to the end of the 5th, but Terry Francona was also very aggressive with how he used his bullpen, which, to his credit, almost worked. Almost got them the ultimate prize.
It almost did.
Yeah, like hard to say that was really the wrong move there, to be fair.
Yeah, so Cleveland goes up 2-1, and then they have a 7-2 to win. They have a 7-2 win in Chicago in Game 4 to push Chicago to the brink and to potentially extend their playoff drought to another 109th year of no World Series wins. Your boy Francisco Lindor had a couple of hits and an RBI in this game.
He had 296 in this series. I'll have people know.
Yep. Let the record show that is indeed factual.
Playoff riser.
Yeah, Jason Kipnis, he did his thing in this game too. He had a couple of doubles off of John Lackey. He also hit a home run off of Travis Wood, and Carlos Santana had a home run as well.
It should be noted, by the way, everyone talks about one major moment that comes on later in this series. Jason Kipnis very nearly topped that. It's kind of lost to history because things happen the way they did.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those, like, if you ask a Cub fan, like, what do they remember about that night? The Kipnis foul ball will come up because for a brief moment they were like, dear God, this is not happening. And then it hooked.
Which game did the Kipnis? Was that in Game 7?
In the 9th.
Yeah, I might need a little refresher, but we'll get there.
I'll send that to you here in a second.
Yeah, Game 5 though. So funny story about Game 5. I'm not sure if I've ever told you this. I don't think I've ever discussed it on the show, but in Game 5 for Game 5 of the World Series, so this was a potential clinching game in Chicago for the Indians before they come back to Cleveland. This game was played on a Sunday night, and I was actually in Cleveland on this day because that Sunday afternoon, the Jets played the Cleveland Browns.
Oh.
So I went to that game. The Jets. Damn. Yeah, I went to that game. The Jets beat the piss out of the Browns. And then my buddy's job, his like firm or something, had like a suite for a Game 5 watch party at Progressive Field. So the game was played in Wrigley, but I was at the Game 5 watch party, watching this game. So Cleveland had a chance to clinch. So I was like, man, like I want Cleveland to win this. Like I want to be in Cleveland when they win the World Series. Like, I'm ready to blow shit up, basically. And I remember, I believe, Jose Ramirez hit that home run in the second inning, and that stadium erupted. It was crazy. And then,
just from what you remember, how many people do you think were in the building that night?
So I'm trying to think, like, what's Progressive Field's like capacity? Because obviously, like, no one was sitting like in the bleachers or like the outfields.
Okay. I was wondering if they opened it up for everybody.
Yeah, but I mean, like, they had like, I'm trying to think, like, I feel like the suites where we were sitting was definitely full, and like the lower bowl was pretty full. I feel like whatever seats were available where you could see the big screen, like I feel like it was fairly packed.
34,820 is Progressive's capacity.
Okay, if that's their capacity, I'll say that it was probably like at least half of that, maybe.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was definitely a pretty good environment. But then unfortunately for Cleveland, my hatred of Trevor Bauer hadn't really developed yet. Like, 'cause I didn't really know how much of a shithead of a human being he was at this point. But
same.
He couldn't really hold up his end of the bargain. He gives up 3 runs. He gives up 3 runs in the fourth, and then he gets he gets pulled after that. The Indians do answer back with a run in the 6th inning off of a Francisco Lindor base hit, and unfortunately that was all the run support they would get. Cleveland loses that game, and Cleveland loses that game. The series goes back to Cleveland, where they would then lose. Game 6, 9-3. Chicago just jumped on them early in that game, and they just never really had a chance to come back. This was also like Jake Arrieta, like in his prime, so.
It should be noted the big hit in that game in the 3rd inning, a grand slam off of noted bad person Addison Russell,
Facts.
who was out of baseball 2 years later for being an asshole.
Yeah,
and you never hear from him. Wonder why?
I do wonder.
Because he just shut the hell up and took his punishment.
Yeah, which is what you should. Yeah, which is what you should do in that situation. Just take your L, take your punishment, and go. So he, at least while he was a shit human being, he at least left the game of baseball gracefully. He didn't allege that he was being like blackballed from the league or any bullshit like that.
Or have his agent be really weird about it.
Yep. Yeah, that whole dynamic is extremely weird to me. But
you're not the only one.
Yeah. But Game 7, which is really a microcosm of this whole series and was really one of the greatest baseball games, really one of the greatest baseball games I think ever played. Game 7, winner take all, Chicago Cubs, they get it done. They get it done by a score of 8-7. They take an early lead. In the 1st inning. Dexter Fowler hits a home run off of Yankee legend, complimentary Corey Kluber. Javi Baez had a home run in the 5th inning. Cleveland answers back with a run in the 3rd, so it's 1-1. Chicago scores 2 in the 4th and then 2 in the 5th, courtesy of Javi Baez home run, as well as and then you had a David Ross home run in the top of the 6th inning,
off Andrew Miller, no less.
Yeah, off of Yankee legend Andrew Miller. And then Cleveland does score 2 of their own in the bottom of the 5th. And then you had one of the more wild finishes to a baseball game. Really, ever.
I believe within the scope of all that, in that 5th inning, what kind of starts all of this is that John Lester came in the game So David Ross had to come in. So Contreras started originally because Kyle Hendricks started that game. And then Ross was basically John Lester's caddy. So he had to come in. And there's a sequence in, I believe, the 5th. Yeah, it had to be because this is when Cleveland scored on Lester, where he takes a wild pitch that basically hits the dirt and hits him square in the mask and like clearly got rattled. Like took him a good 3 or 4 seconds to realize where the ball went. And I believe I think that might have been where both runs came in, was off that wild pitch because David Ross was just had his bell rung. And ultimately they lift Lester and they had to take David Ross out because it's like, well, if he's not going to catch
you can't keep him in for his bat.
Yeah, like if he's not going to catch Lester, then and he also might be concussed. We can't have him in there, and that will come into play later as we continue.
Yep. Yep. So then we go to the 8th inning. We go to the 8th inning at this point. At this point, the Indians are trailing. It's 6-3 at this point. And then we have our boy. I know that Cleveland scored a run prior in that inning to the moment, but you had Rajai Davis, Pirates legend, hits a
Met legend.
Pirates and Mets legend hits a home run off of Yankee legend Aroldis Chapman, who I'm going to say that is in a derogatory way more than a complimentary way, just because at the end of the day he did some shitty things, but also when it mattered the most, he always folded for us. So it's derogatory for Chapman. But yeah, Rajai Davis hits a home run over the left field wall, to tie the game. And I think that if Cleveland would have won this game and won this series, there would be a statue for Rajai Davis outside the Progressive Field.
Oh, no doubt. And also, I think in that moment, I don't know how everyone else felt, but I remember just being like, just disband the Cubs, man. If this team's not going to do it.
No. Yeah.
It ain't happening.
Yeah, I'm sure there were many, many Cubs fans that felt the same way. And then the game goes into so that ties the game. That ties the game. And then Jose Ramirez had the single, and then Rajai Davis had the 2-run homer after that. And then they go into the 10th inning. It starts to rain, and I think they had a 17-minute rain delay. I guess the Cubs had a meeting to try and get like the horses back together, just to be like, listen, like we'll be okay, basically.
It was Jason Hayward supposedly paid his contract off in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, for what Jason Hayward lacked as a for what Jason Hayward lacked in on the field production, he definitely made up for in this moment. So yeah, he gets the team together, and basically he's like, let them know, like, don't get down, like, and that we need this 114th win. Then Brian Shaw comes out for the 10th. He pitches to Schwarber. Schwarber hits a leadoff single.
Let's point out, by the way, Kyle Schwarber in this series hit .412, 500, 471. He tore his ACL in the first week of the season.
Yep. Yep. And he
It
came
does
back.
not get talked about enough.
Yeah. And he came back at the very end. Then, and then Albert Almora pinch runs for him. Probably the right call. And then he actually took second base on a rare first to second sack fly.
Well, if I remember correctly, I think this died at the track, so probably the right move.
Yeah, I think the sack fly is very underrated in general, but I think it's especially underrated when it's a first to second base sack fly, just because of how rarely that happens.
I used to spam that like crazy on video games. I don't know why teams don't try this more in real life.
Right? Yeah. And I guess analytics probably say it's not worth it to risk an out to go from first to second. I don't know. I could be. I could be making that up. That's just a guess.
You might not be. I don't know.
Then from there they intentionally walked Ben Zobrist.
No, Rizzo. They walked.
They intentionally walked Rizzo to bring up Ben Zobrist, who hadn't had a hit yet. And then he on a 1-2 count, he hits a fastball down the left field line for a double. Almora scores, and then
leads to that great Russell, Rizzo moment of because I would be too. I would be like, holy shit, is this actually happening?
Yeah. And then Rizzo scores on Rizzo then scored on a Miguel Montero single.
This is where we talked about David Ross coming in, and they had to pull him because, well, he's in there to catch one guy, and the one guy's out. So we got to bring Miguel Montero in now. So the Cubs kept 3 catchers, and all of them were important.
Yep.
Even the third one.
Was David Ross like John Lester's personal catcher? Was that what the deal was? Yeah,
he was basically Lester's caddy, and he retired after that season. So that's how.
Because he was like he was like in his 40s at that point, I think. Or he was pretty damn old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he was the third catcher. Yeah, and every catcher made an appearance in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So then Rizzo scores, go of 8-6. And then they bring in then they bring in Trevor Bauer to get the last 2 outs of that inning.
It is very funny that he comes in directly after Montero gets the hit, that everyone knows Zobrist puts them ahead, but really it's Miguel Montero's single that wins the game. And if you remember, Trevor Bauer and Miguel Montero kind of had beef when they were in Arizona. So much so that Trevor Bauer wrote a shitty rap track about it.
Oh, yeah. Good Lord.
Tough break, fella.
Yeah. Sucks to suck.
Yeah.
And then, so then we go to the bottom of the 10th. Carl Edwards Jr. comes out to face the Indians. He gets the first 2 outs, then he walks Brandon Guyer. Brandon Guyer takes second base on defensive indifference. Rajai Davis with another RBI in this game, cutting the lead in half in that bottom of the 10th. And then Joe Maddon pulls he pulls Edwards and brings in Mike Montgomery. And then Michael Martinez replaced Coco Crisp in a defensive substitution.
And they had to pull him because Crisp didn't have the arm in center. So it was like this was in the 9th, and the Cubs had a runner at third. Like Hayward advanced on a I think it was a fly ball. But now the winning run's at third, and Terry Francona was basically like, Martinez has the better arm. Like we can't risk this. Which was probably the right move in that moment. But now you need one more hit to keep this going, and it's Michael Martinez.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, and it was yeah, it was one of those things where yeah, pretty much like one swing of the bat or one pitch could have like won the World Series for either team. Um and then Michael Martinez hits the slow roller to third base, and that was a tough play, but Chris Bryant scoops it with his bare hands and then he throws him out to end the game. Anthony Rizzo, Yankee legend, mostly complimentary, I guess. Puts the ball in his back pocket, and the Cubs finally break their World Series drought.
And nothing bad happened after that.
Nope. Nope. Everything was just fine.
I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah. I remembered having a feeling after that, like I was like, man, the Cubs just won the World Series, and the way they did it, like I had a feeling. I was like, man, some fuck shit's about to go on in the world.
And
man, shit. But yeah, 2016 World Series, yeah, one of the greatest ever. And I would have said at that point in time, it was probably the best World Series I had ever watched. And then we were treated to a World Series that was quite possibly just as good the following year with the cheating Houston Astros and the Los Angeles Dodgers.
I stand by that claim, even knowing what we know. I know. I think we've talked about this with one game in particular from this series on the show before. Even with all that, like taking in that series as it happened, I'm like, this is some of the most amazing baseball I've ever watched. And even knowing what I know, like I would love to watch that series again experience that for the first time. I'm just being like, this is,
yeah,
every single inning something's happening.
Oh yeah, it's hard to really it's hard to discredit how good of a World Series this was, even with the knowledge of what was going on. But we start in game one. Game one, October 24th. The Dodgers win that game 3-1 on a Clayton Kershaw masterclass. Clayton Kershaw had many allegations of coming up small in the playoffs, and he had moments where he came up small in the playoffs before this. He had moments where he came up small in the playoffs after this, but
we'll get to it.
He was as good as you could really ask him to be in this game one, going 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 11 strikeouts, the 1 earned run coming off of a home run, outdueling Dallas Keuchel of the Astros. Dodgers win that game 3-1 to take the series lead. The Astros come back and win a 7-6 barn burner in 11 innings in game 2.
That game was so very nearly 2-0 Dodgers. Like in the 9th, I want to say this was with 2 out. Maybe the biggest play of the series that never gets talked about. Marwin Gonzalez, it was a leadoff home run. But Marwin Gonzalez homers off Kenley Jansen to tie that game. Like, the Dodgers were about to go up 2-0, and I remember thinking, like,
yep,
man, we waited all year for this series. Like, most people thought we were going to get Astros Dodgers. They both had won over 100+ games, and it was like, okay, this is the series we were promised.
Yeah,
this is gonna be.
I remember thinking that was going to be the World Series going into that year.
And then wild extra innings here. Altuve and Correa go off back-to-back to start the 10th against Josh Fields. Wonder if this is the last time something involving Josh Fields, the Astros, and the Dodgers is going to happen. That'd be freaky. And then in the bottom of the 10th, Yasiel Puig leadoff home run, tie game. Or not, that brought him within 1.
Yeah.
And then Kike Hernandez, not for the first time, ties the game with 2 out. Top of the 11th, George Springer hits a 2-run homer. Bottom of the 11th with 2 out. I don't know if you remember this, Chris. Charlie Culbertson hits a solo home run to make it 7-6. But he sprinted around the bases like I think he thought he tied the game. Like he was he was sprinting. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did this. And everyone's like, did we miss something?
Everyone's like, dude, you are still in fact losing this game.
But Met legend complimentary Chris Davinsky strikes out Puig to end the game.
That's right.
God, I hope we bring him back.
It would be a good idea. And then, game 3, Houston pulls out in front in this one with a 5-3 victory. Yu Darvish gets absolutely shelled in the first inning. Lance McCullers goes 5 1/3, and then Brad Peacock with a 3 2/3 inning save for the Astros to pull them ahead in this series. You had Pirates legend Tony Watson making a relief appearance in this one. He gave up a run, but it was not earned. And then
if I'm not mistaken, I believe the Dodgers traded O'Neal Cruz to get Tony Watson.
I think you're right. I think you are correct in that. And then
I hope the Mets farm system gets good enough to where we could just do shit like that.
Yeah,
that.
The Dodgers also traded, I forget who it was for, but the Dodgers also traded Yordan Alvarez.
That was the Josh Fields joke.
Oh. I guess that went over my head.
I thought you knew. My bad.
No, you're good. Yeah, no, I knew they traded Yordan Alvarez. I forgot who they traded him for, but it would be someone like Josh Fields, who is rather forgettable, I will say. Dodgers answer back in game 4 with a 6-2 win.
Alex Wood took a no-hitter, I want to say maybe to the 7th in this, like beyond the early stages, to a point where it's like, he's not going to do this, is he?
Yeah. Pirates legend Charlie Morton started this game for the Astros. Went 6 1/3. Both starting pitchers pitched really well in this game.
Yeah, this was a much tighter game than 6-2 says it was.
Yeah. And then you had Pirates legend Joe Musgrove for the Astros.
It was 1-1 going to the 9th, and then the Dodgers scored 5. That's why.
Yep. Pirates legend Joe Musgrove was responsible for 2 of those 5. Ken Giles was responsible for the other 3.
Yeah, Alex Wood, Brandon Morrow, Tony Watson, Kenley Jansen. Running Brandon Morrow out in just about every single game will hurt the Dodgers at some point in the series. Stay tuned.
Yeah. Alex Bregman hits a 9th inning garbage time home run, doing his best Judge impression before playoff Judge even really became a thing. Dodgers win that game 6-2 to tie the game and set the stage for a very pivotal, very memorable, there aren't enough adjectives to describe this game. Game 5. Now, I remember I was at on the night of Game 5, me and a couple of friends, we made the dire mistake of going to a Knicks versus Cavs game.
I think you've told this story. That you actually were there at the start of the game, drove back, saw the end.
Yeah, we drove back, and because this game lasted 5 hours. So we went to a whole Knicks game. The game started, ended. We drove back, and we still saw the last 2 hours of this game. I think we got back in the 7th inning, but the Dodgers take a 3-0 lead in this game, in the first inning. They tack on another run. They tack on another run in the fourth. The Astros answer back with 4 runs.
Gurriel
Yeah,
tied it.
off of Gurriel. I believe that was that a grand slam or
3-runner.
it was a
Kershaw.
3-run. Yeah, it was a
Different.
3-run homer off of Kershaw.
This was where the playoff Kershaw meme was certified for it. Like, this was like, you will never beat these allegations, not once.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you get a ring. You're not beating this.
Yeah. Then they both trade 3-run frames in the fifth inning. And then you go to the seventh inning, and here in the seventh is when the Astros look like they're about to pull away with a 4-run seventh. And then the Dodgers come roaring back in the ninth inning. I believe, Yasiel Puig hit a 2-run homer in the ninth inning to tie that game.
I mentioned Brandon Morrow earlier. In that seventh inning, Brandon Morrow starts the inning. George Springer leadoff home run. Bregman single. Altuve double. Wild pitch with Correa at the plate. Correa 2-run homer. Morrow is relieved. That was in 8 pitches. His game score, I don't know if anybody pays attention to the game score stat. His game score was 8. It starts at 40.
That's is that bad?
Might be.
Mm-hmm. Might be working to confirm.
Trying to delete.
Yep. Yep. So then, So Puig hit a 2-run homer, which didn't tie the game, but then Chris Taylor tied the game with a base hit up the middle, and then
2 outs, 2 strikes.
Yep, and then Kenley Jansen comes in to work the ninth. He gives up a 2-out double to Gurriel, but then then ultimately they go to extra innings. Then they go to extra innings tied. The Astros bring in Joe Musgrove. He goes scoreless, and they bring out Kenley Jansen again for the bottom of the 10th. Jansen retires the first 2 batters, which brings was that James McCann?
No, that would be Yankee legend.
Derogatory.
Okay.
Brian
derogatory. McCann. Brian McCann.
Yeah, I'm saying it's derogatory. And then he hits one. He hits a ball into the right field corner that fell just foul, and then he hits McCann on the next, and then he hits McCann on the next pitch. And then they pinch run Derek Fisher, not that one, but they pinch run Derek Fisher for James McCann. Then Alex Bregman lines out to left field, and then Fisher, Fisher takes off from second, and then Andre Ethier scooped up the ball, and I guess the throw was late, and then he runs around third, and then it
was a relative flare of a single.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I misread this. It said he lined one into left field. I thought it was a line out. So I thought it was like he so I was like, wait, I don't remember it happening like that. But so they walk it off, and So they walk it off, and that gives the Astros a 3-2 series lead, and probably. I think this game alone is kind of what makes this series. I mean, this series was great from start to finish, but this game alone kind of makes this series one of the best ever.
Oh, by far. I mean, this, like I said, even with the knowledge, I still think this is an A+ World Series, and
100%.
this does a lot of the heavy lifting.
It does.
Not even that the other games were bad, but this was just.
It was just such a good game. Like,
it's an inner circle all-time game.
Yeah, like and it was one of those you talk about, like, in real time, like that you're witnessing something crazy or something special.
Oh, for sure.
Like, this is one of those games for sure.
Yeah, like by the time it got to the 7th, you're like whatever's gonna happen next. I know where I'm gonna remember where I was watching this game, what I thought, everything that went into it, and yeah.
Oh yeah.
8 years later, I remember everything.
Yeah, I remember very well being at the bar after being at the Knicks game. And then game 6, the Dodgers come back with a 3-1 win. George Springer hit an early home run in the 3rd inning to get the scoring started for the Astros. That 1-0 lead would hold until the bottom of the 6th inning, and then Jock Peterson had a solo shot in the 7th inning, and then Corey Seager and Chris Taylor also brought in some runs there in the 6th to lead the Dodgers to a nice 3-1 win to set the stage for a Game 7. In that Game 7, it was kind of all Astros from the jump. The Astros score 5 runs in the first 2 innings, and that's all they really needed. Pirates legend Charlie Morton blanked the Dodgers for. Well, actually, I'm lying. No, Lance McCullers started this game.
Yep.
And then they had Brad Peacock and Frankie Lariano came in, another Pirates legend, Mets legend Chris Davinsky, complimentary, and then Charlie Morton came in 4 innings of relief for the win.
I always forget that Liriano was on that team. Although, if I remember correctly, I believe the Astros traded Teoscar Hernandez to get Liriano. So, call it even.
Yeah, I think you can. I think that's. I think it's fair to call that one even.
It's really obviously there's the blemish of the scandal,
right?
But on field, the one blemish is that for as incredible as these first 6 games were, pretty much you knew almost immediately. The Astros are winning it. When George Springer hits the home run in the 2nd, it's they're not getting it. This is it.
Yeah.
Yes. For the first 6 games to be that great, in Game 7 it just.
Yeah, especially after like what we were treated to in 2016. It was a little bit disappointing of an ending, especially
on 14. We'd had 3 World Series Game 7s in 4 years.
Yeah, but I mean, especially like that the wildness of that game, of that 2016 Game 7 for this Game 7 to fall flat after what we had witnessed the first 6 games of that series was a little disappointing, but it doesn't take away from the fact that the 2017 World Series, despite the allegations, the scandal, all that jazz, was definitely one of the better World Series of the last decade or so.
Also, this might be something we do another time, but that World Series logo it's definitely the best of the 21st century. And if we could go back and look before that, but I love that World Series logo so much.
Just 2017,
10 out of 10 design, no notes.
Oh yeah, it's pretty. It's a good one for sure. But moving on to the 2018 World Series, not World Series. The 2018 World Series sucked. The 2018 playoffs, the 2018 NLDS in particular, between the very same Los Angeles Dodgers and the Atlanta Braves. This was one where you had the Dodgers winning a blowout in game one, and then the Braves didn't score runs until the last. The Braves didn't score runs until game three, until they were facing elimination. But
so I think when we originally went over this, you wanted to go with Dodgers Brewers for the NLCS.
Actually, you're right. You are right. It was Dodgers Brewers for some reason. Yeah, you know what? You're right. I wrote Dodgers Brewers, and once I started reading off of that series, I was like, wait, this series kind of sucked. But you are 100% right. It was Dodgers Brewers, which was far better and far more memorable. I think I'm just a little delirious right now.
That's all right.
But Dodgers Brewers, a lot more memorable than this Dodgers Brewers series that we just watched. The Dodgers just swept the Brewers, but back in 2018, these same teams, well, not really, but these two franchises played a 7-game NLCS. It starts with a 6-5 win for the Milwaukee Brewers. Your boy Brandon Woodruff.
That's right.
Your boy Brandon Woodruff was the pitcher. You had another bad. He was the winning pitcher. Brandon Woodruff was. Gio Gonzalez started that game. Clayton Kershaw with another terrible playoff performance. Only lasted 3 innings.
Got taken yard.
Yep, got taken yard by a pitcher, right?
Brandon Woodruff.
Yes, by Brandon Woodruff. That's right. That happened in game 1. Game 2, the Dodgers come back with a 4-3 win to even things up. Justin Turner, Mets legend. I'll let you decide if that's complimentary.
You want to bang my head against the table, Ali?
Yeah. Just story incomplete. Mets legend Justin Turner hit a home run in that game. The Brewers were control. Well, it was a pretty good pitcher's duel, and then the Brewers took a 3-0 lead over the 5th and 6th inning, and then the Dodgers get 2 back in the 7th, and then they score 2 in the 8th to take the lead in that game, and then they were able to close it out in the 9th. Kenley Jansen gets the save. And then game 3, Milwaukee shuts the Dodgers out 4-0.
This was kind of the start of Craig Counsell. This was his first playoff series as a manager, and we kind of learned real quickly what kind of time he operates on.
Yep. Yeah, he made some. Yeah, he definitely had some questionable moves in this one.
There was at least one game in this series where somebody started and got pulled after like 2 batters. I can't remember which one.
It wasn't this game, but it looks like he definitely did do that. Game 4, you had a 13-inning marathon. Which the Dodgers came out on top. They had trying to remember how that game ended.
This was I don't know if we want to say legend because he's not done yet, but current Yankee player Cody Bellinger with the winning hit in the 13th.
Yeah, hopefully he ends up being a Yankee legend. I mean, even if he walks after this year, I'll still call him a Yankee legend. And then
I do want to point out, you know who started this game for the Dodgers? Still kicking.
and this is Dick Mountain,
That's right.
the one and only Dick Mountain.
That's right.
We saw what kind of time Dave Roberts operated on in this game.
Oh yeah, this was a great series that could have been even better if the managers had just let things happen.
Off. Yeah, you had Caleb Ferguson made a relief appearance in this game.
There's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah. I mean he's pitching for the Mariners now.
Oh, that's right.
The Pirates traded him. He was on the Yankees last year.
I'm a dumbass.
I've been hearing his name quite a bit.
Wow.
He pitched I think he didn't pitch he pitched in game 3 of this ALCS that's currently going on.
Oh wow. Wow. Hand up. I whiffed that one.
Man, I can't really listen if you're not following every step of Caleb Ferguson's life. I can't really hold that against you.
Yeah,
it's what I'm here for. But then Dodgers win game 5, 5-2, and then they win 7-2 in game 6. Game 7, Dodgers win that game 5-1. The Brewers actually took the lead in the first inning, but then the Dodgers, Cody Bellinger hits a 2-run homer in the second inning, and then the Dodgers go off for 3 runs off of a 3-run homer off of Yasiel Puig in the 6th. That's all she wrote. Dodgers go to the World Series and get fucked over by a cheating team for the second straight time.
And if I remember correctly, I believe Cody Bellinger also makes a crucial. I believe it was an inning-ending catch, and it might have been with the bases loaded. And I can't remember.
Was it like a over-the-shoulder catch?
Yeah, like it was like a.
I feel like I have a visual of that.
Like sometimes we kind of oversell a catch, but it's like no, that was a high degree of difficulty, and it was important. Like if he doesn't get there, the entire game changes. It might have because there was only one runner on. That might not have been. But it was still early enough that because I remember I was watching that game. We were coming back from a Florida Tech road trip, and at some point it was like the catch happened, and then the next inning the Dodgers scored. It's like, well, okay, yeah, you get a 1-2 like that back to back. Yeah, you're not getting up off the mat from this.
Right.
It ended up being true.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look for that.
On to 2019. We are approaching the home stretch, and for 2019, we did have another classic World Series to close out the 2010s, and also this is the last World Series that's actually on our list for this list. This is the last one where the World Series was the best playoff series. So 2019 World Series, the Nationals over the Astros. The road team won every single game in this series. So Nationals take games 1 and 2. Astros take 3 in a row in DC, and then the Nationals go back and they win game 6 and game 7 by scores of 7-2 and 6-2. a lot of the scores in these games were like kind of, a lot of the scores in these games were kind of lopsided. Like you had a 12-3 Nationals win in game 2. You had an 8-1 Astros win and 7-1 Astros wins in games 4 and 5. But despite that, for some reason, this series like really stood out to me as one of the better ones. You had
Game 7 was close. Like it was much closer than 6-2 says it was.
Oh yeah. No, Game 7 was a very good game. You had Max Scherzer. You had Max Scherzer actually nutting up in a playoff start, which is not something that everyone's familiar with. The Astros were actually up 2-0.
And to Max Scherzer's credit, he had like a back injury to the point that like he literally could not put his uniform on by himself that day. I don't know how he pitched effectively at all. I'll never understand.
Yeah. But Max Scherzer was pitching with a bad back. And what so how did this game transpire?
Well, we get all the way into the 7th inning, and this is where this will be one of those things that'll be talked about forever. AJ Hinch had Garrett Cole warming up.
Yep.
Did not go to him.
No, he
did one out. Anthony Rendon homers, and that makes it 2-1. And then Juan Soto walks, and that brings Zach Greinke's night to an end. And Will Harris comes in, and Howie Kendrick clangs one off the pole, and that was basically the game. The Nationals get one more in the 8th on a Soto RBI single, and then Adam Eaton drives in 2 more in the 9th to basically put the game to bed. And I wanted to cry after that was so. I didn't, but that was me just to go like, Christ, you mean to tell me they have a World Series too?
Yeah, that's got to be a tough one to swallow.
It still bothers me, and it will until we win one.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you, especially because it's like, for all the shit you want to talk on Nats fans, because like
that was it.
Well, they're not good now, but they got that on you.
Yeah, it's like all the you've never won postseason jokes gone. You've never won a series gone.
Yeah, and I feel like this series is kind of where like the legend of Juan Soto was born, because this
was where the national audience like found out. Oh, that's who this was.
Yeah, because he was hitting. Yeah, because I think it was Game 6 where he was hitting nukes off of Justin Verlander.
It was.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Garrett Cole was so pissed after they didn't put him in Game 7. He was like, I think to the point he didn't even want to do the press conference after the game. I think he
wore the Boris cap.
Yeah, I think he said something to the extent of like, yeah, I'm not employed by this team anymore. Like,
yeah.
Like if people thought Soto was cold in his like post World Series interview last year, where he was just like, yeah, no, like I'm available to all 30 teams, and there will be no discounts. Like pretty much just like, I'm available, come get me. They thought that was cold. Garrett Cole in 2019 was pretty cold after that.
I think that's still the gold standard.
Yeah.
To wear your agent's hat that's some wild shit.
Yeah. Yeah. He wore the Boris hat. Yeah. Yeah. Underneath, he has like a little bit of a robot personality, but underneath there is some personality with Garrett Cole.
He might as well have done this.
Yeah. And he has and I think he has like an outstanding beef with Trevor Bauer too. So he's on the right side of history in that one.
I forgot this. You're right.
I think it goes back to like when they went to UCLA together.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
But no, you blew the 2010. No, you blew it.
Yeah. But Yeah, not quite the not quite the 2017 or 2016 World Series, but or not even the 2011 World Series, but a pretty good, pretty memorable World Series to close out the decade, I would say.
Yeah, the Nationals won the World Series, and nothing bad happened after that.
Nope, absolutely nothing. And then after nothing bad happened, and we had a shortened 2020 season. We have where definitely nothing bad happened in that ALDS, but in the 2020 ALCS, we had the Tampa Bay Rays defeating the defending American League champion Houston Astros, who were in the playoffs with a 29-31 regular season record.
Yeah, shit was weird.
Yeah, shit was very weird, but I would say 2020 was just like obviously just a weird year in general. Only 60 games. They switched up the playoff format for that year. You had the Mets winning walk-off, walking off the Yankees in Yankee Stadium. A lot of weird shit happened. And I almost actually picked the Yankees-Rays series for this, but I decided to pick when the Rays did go and get their lick back to get back to the World Series.
I should point out in the wild card round that year, the Dodgers swept the Brewers, and the Brewers hit 172 as a team in that series. And that is somehow not the worst offensive performance they've had against the Dodgers this decade.
What was their average in this one?
Lower, I think it was like under 130. Jeez. I'm not even kidding. Actually, here's this. Where is it? Because I had this up before. Because they were saying that Bartolo Colon's average in 2015 was 138, and the Brewers hit lower than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Brewers hit 118 as a team.
Good Lord.
The worst batting average by any team in any postseason series of at least 3 games in MLB history.
Wow.
Good God.
We witnessed history, and not the good kind tonight.
That anybody wanted to watch.
Yeah, but Tampa Bay Rays. Tampa Bay Rays go out to a 2-0 series lead. Game 1, they win. They win a close one in Game 1 by a score of 2-1. Jose Altuve hits a first inning home run. The Rays follow it up with a Randy Arozarena home run. And then after that, Mike Zunino drove in a couple of runs, or Mike Zunino drove in a run in the 5th inning. That was all the scoring that happened in that game, and then Diego Castillo comes through with a almost 2-inning save to shut the door on the Astros in Game 1. They then go back and they win Game 2 by a score of 4-2. They get 3 runs in the first inning off of a Manuel Margot 3-run homer. Mike Zunino adds a home run in the 7th inning to pretty much really solidify that win. And then the Astros answered back. The Astros answered back in the 9th inning. Carlos Correa had a home run in the 6th inning, and then they answered back with and then I think Correa also had the RBI base hit in that 9th inning, but all for naught as the Astros fall 4-2 in that one. Then the Rays actually, I didn't realize the Rays took a 3-0 lead in this one. So the Rays, I forget that this was like they were discussing the reverse sweep. But yeah, the Rays go up 3-0, and our boy Ryan Yarbrough started this game, gave the Rays 5 strong innings. Then you had a bullpen masterclass after that. The bullpen shut the door from Pete Fairbanks to John Curtis, Ryan Thompson, Aaron Loup, and then Diego Castillo with the save.
Aaron Loup, Met legend, very complimentary.
Very complimentary. Met legend Aaron Loup. And then game 4, the tides begin to turn as the Astros start their comeback.
It's always interesting to. It's like, oh yeah, Zach Greinke was on the Astros. It's like, yeah, I remember him on the Royals. I remember on the Dodgers. I even remember him on the Brewers. Oh yeah, the Astros did trade for him. That's right.
Oh yeah, I remember. I do. I remember. I remember Greinke on the Astros all too well. Unfortunately, so there were some times with the Astros where he actually shut us down in the playoffs. I think the year before was actually one of those times.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Zach Greinke was the Astros starter for CeCe's last game.
Oh, I think you're right. I believe you're right.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of my lasting memory of Zach Greinke with the Astros. I almost remember, I remember Zach Greinke with the Astros and the Royals more than anyone else.
Anyway.
But yeah, Astros come back. They in this one Altuve hits a home run in the first inning. George Springer hits a 2-run homer in the fifth. The Rays did answer back in the fourth inning with a Randy Arozarena home run. Austin Meadows had a couple. Austin Meadows had a ribby as well, I believe. Or no, the Willie Adames had a ribby. I'm sure the Rays wish they didn't. The Rays extended the wrong shortstop. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And then the Rays do come back with the Rays do come back with another run there in the ninth inning, and then that was pretty much all she wrote for that. Astros win that one, still down 3-1, and then they have another. Then they come back with another 4-3 win in Game 5 at home. And in this one,
home.
Oh yeah, that's right. This was they that's right. They had moved I guess the whole playoffs was played neutrally. Or I think the wild card round was
yes. And then division LCS World Series were neutral.
That's right. Yeah, cuz this was at Petco. And then they played the World Series in Texas.
Mhm.
Yeah, I forgot about that momentarily, but
it's late.
Yeah. Yeah, so Astros win that game as the designated home team. And then they win 7-4 in Game 6, which sets the stage for a Game 7 and a potential reverse sweep. But the Rays really weren't having any of it. Pirates legend Charlie Morton, who was a Game 7 folk hero for the Astros, but in this one he basically shuts the door on the Astros. He goes 5 2/3, doesn't give up any runs. He strikes out 6, 2 hits, 1 walk. The Rays jump out early. They score 2 runs in the second inning. Or no, 2 runs in the first inning off of a Randy Arozarena home run. Then Mike Zunino hits a home run in the second inning to make it 3-0. That was really all they needed. But for good measures, they get another run in the 6th. Astros answer back. Astros finally wake up a little bit in the 8th inning with a with a two RBI hit from with a 2 RBI single from Carlos Correa, but too little, too late. The Rays finished the job in the end, and they do not allow the Astros with a losing record to go back to the World Series in 2020.
That probably needed to happen. People would have been too mad. That would
Oh, I would have been furious. I was actually like, I don't like the Rays, but I was absolutely rooting for the Rays in that one.
I will say both LCSs that year are pretty compelling. We have this series here, and the Dodgers came back from 3-1 in the NLCS. So that was pretty. I think the World Series was kind of a letdown. Like, you kind of could tell right away, like, okay, the Dodgers are going to win this. But both championship series.
Yeah, and I feel like even
you could enjoy something in 2020. That was up there.
Oh yeah, and I feel like even the World Series was like, I would say the World Series was probably even a little bit better than expected.
Yeah, if nothing else, for that insane ending to Game 4.
Yeah, and Game 6 was pretty wild too.
Well, yeah, for the Snell moment.
Yeah. Moving on to 2021, though, we have the NL wild card of 2021, where the Los Angeles Dodgers defeat the St. Louis Cardinals. And this was a one-off wild card game.
The last of its kind.
The final of its kind, because the Yankees, I think, played earlier that evening. Mm-hmm. Or the Yankees played the day before they lost to the Red Sox.
Yes.
But you had the Cardinals taking the early lead in the first. Cardinals take the early lead in the first inning. Dodgers tie it up in the fourth, and then you had Dodgers tie it off of a Justin Turner home run in the fourth inning. And then you had Chris Taylor hitting a 2-run walk-off home run off of Alex Reyes in the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs to deep left to win it and to advance the 106-win Dodgers to the next round, where they definitely would not choke.
Well, they did not. That set up an all-time NLDS between the Dodgers and Giants, which went 5. That was the 107-win Giants and the 106-win Dodgers. That actually was a pretty damn good one, I must say.
Yeah, no, that was a pretty good one. And then even that NLCS between the Braves and the Dodgers was pretty good. But
it was.
I do feel like the last wild card game of its last 1-game playoff, ending in a walk-off, I think it's got to take the cake.
That's fair. The Dodgers used Blake Trinan in this game, and they're still using him here in Big 2025.
Funny. Yeah, it is pretty funny. And, I mean, I guess the results of Blake Trinan have been kind of mixed in this NLCS. And, I mean, we'll see what they want to do with him. We'll see what they want to do with him in the World Series.
I would recommend just keep using him as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the worst that could happen?
Absolutely. 2022, we are almost done. We are in the home stretch, the last 3. 2022, and maybe I'm a little biased with this, maybe I'm not, but for me, 2022, it's the ALDS between the Yankees and the Cleveland Guardians. To me, this was like probably one of the more memorable, if not the most memorable series of this playoffs. You had the Yankees winning Game 1 Then you had the Guardians winning games 2 and 3. Game 3 was the game where Josh Naylor, it was Josh, not Bo, right?
Correct.
Yeah, it was Josh Naylor who hit a home run off of Garrett Cole and then did the like I'm your fucking father and the baby cradle.
Yeah.
So you had that, pushing, which pushed the Yankees to the brink. But then the Yankees come back. They win Game 4 by a score of 4-2. And then Game 5, they were pretty dominant. Game 5 ends with I believe it was IKF tossing a ground ball to Gleyber Torres the second for the final out, and Gleyber Torres returns the favor. And yeah, I don't know if I'm being biased on this one, but I feel like this was probably the best series of this year.
I mean, I could throw out Padres Dodgers, but like I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Also, this was a Game 5 where immediately, like I think the Guardians could have started Shane Bieber and didn't. They started Aaron Savali, and everyone's like, "Well, that's stupid."
Yeah.
And, like 3 batters in, 3-run homer for Stanton. It's like, "Yep,
yeah,
it was stupid."
Yeah, and then they yanked him. He didn't. Yeah, he recorded 1 out in the first inning, and then he was yanked. Yeah, you had I think this is the one. I think this is the one time on this. The one time remaining on this list where Emmanuel Clase made appearances. It's word has come out that he is never going to play baseball again.
Well, again, we'll see. It is Hector Gomez reporting, and I feel like sometimes sometimes he's right, sometimes he is loud wrong. So everything is trending towards probably, but you never know.
Yeah.
I think the fact that there hasn't been a lot of speculation until this week, and that went down sometime in August, makes me think that they were fact gathering for these past months, and they got a lot of.
What's weird though is no one mentioned anything about just to touch on this briefly, but what's weird though is nobody mentioned anything about Luis Ortiz, who was also like suspended or placed on leave at the same time as Clase.
I can understand it though, because Clase is the guy who
he's the high profile guy.
Yeah, he's the guy who's considered the best closer in the league, and it's like, if this dude's potentially done forever,
that's a big deal.
I mean, that's what's gonna move stuff.
Yeah, throwing Luis Ortiz in there is just kind of like, okay, who?
Yeah, it's like you may have heard of this guy. You don't.
Yeah. What is? Yeah, I mean, most people probably only know about Luis Ortiz because he's involved in this.
Yes.
Unless you're from Pittsburgh or Cleveland.
Yeah. It's like, or you're a dynasty player and you know him.
Yeah. Or if you're a sicko. But this series did have an extra inning game, which the Guardians did win the 10th inning of Game 2. So you had some moments. Yankee and Met legend hit Ahmed Rosario hit a home run off of Nestor Cortez.
I'm sure he won't give up another one.
No, never. Anyways, moving on to 2023. The 2023 ALCS between the Texas Rangers and the Houston Astros. This was kind of like the slaying of Goliath in a lot of ways. Because I really didn't believe that anyone was going to beat the Astros. Like after 2022, I was like, man, I'm not going to believe that anyone can beat the Astros until I see it. But the Rangers came out and they did it in this series. This was another series where actually, like that 2019 World Series, every game was won by the road team, albeit much shorter distance. So, I'm sure the crowds at these games were very mixed because it's like Houston and the Texas Rangers is like they represent like Dallas and Arlington. So they're about, I think, like 3 hours away from each other by car.
Yep.
But yeah, Texas wins game 1, 2-0. And then they win game 2 by a score of 5-4, which
beating Verlander and Fromber in the process.
They beat Houston's two aces. And then Houston comes back. They win game 3, 8-5. Jose Altuve hit a home run off of Max Scherzer in that game. You also had Josh Jung hitting a home run off of Christian Javier. As well as Josh Jung had 2 home runs. He hit one off of Christian Javier in the 5th inning, and then one off of Hector Neris in the 7th inning.
Still waiting for that full season Josh Jung breakout.
Yep. Dynasty players are still holding out hope. And then Houston wins the next game 10-3, pretty convincingly. It was actually a close game up until like the 4th inning. Houston scores 3 in the first. Texas answers with 2 in the second and 1 in the third, and then Houston scores 4 in the 4th and just kind of blew it open from there. Was never really close. Yankees legend derogatorily Andrew Heaney lasted a whole 2/3 of an inning as the starting pitcher in this game. Mets legend Phil Maton was which I think is complimentary.
We'll allow it.
Ryan Stanek also made a relief
derogatory.
Yeah, derogatorily.
But the real gem of this series is Game 5. This was
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Game 5 was definitely the best.
We talked last time about when the Yankees felt at their most inevitable. I think this felt like the Astros at their most, like, just no matter what,
inevitable.
No matter what situation you put us in, no matter how far you put us behind, we're gonna find a way back. And guess what? Number 27 is gonna do it. He hit it off Jose Leclerc, who it felt like they were using him every single day during this postseason. And at this point, he was just a husk. And at that point, they were up 3-2 in the series, and you're like, well, whoever comes out of the NL, like, I'm not gonna bet against the Astros to beat them. And then they went back to Houston, and the Rangers said, "Watch this shit."
That's right. Yeah, no, yeah, the Astros definitely felt inevitable, and then it was like, you knew that the road team had won every single game of this series, but I didn't expect that trend to continue. I was like, Houston's got 2 games to close this out. Texas has never won anything. Like if anything, the Rangers notoriously choke in these situations. Like Houston's getting it done, and then it looked like Houston was going to get it done where they take an early 1-0 lead in the first inning, and then Texas answers right back in the second inning. They get 2 more in the 4th. Houston gets 1 more in the 6th, and then Texas blows it wide open in the 8th and 9th inning. They explode for 5 runs in the 9th to make it a 9-2 win. Mitch Garver hit a home run. Jonah Heim hit a home run. Adolis Garcia hit a home run. So they got to they really got to Framber Valdez pitched an okay game, and Phil Maton did his thing. He did well, and then they really touched up the other Mets legend, as well as Brian Abreu and Rafael Montero in those later innings to blow that game away and set the stage for a Game 7 winner take all.
Which another one where it'll look, neither starting pitcher had it. Christian Javier retires one batter. Max Scherzer doesn't make it out of the third.
Yeah, and then
but Jordan Montgomery,
Yankee legends, complimentary. Shouldn't have let him go.
Got himself paid this October. Is what?
Oh, he did. Yes, he did. And then it hasn't been good for him since. But he got his bag.
Legend at the bank.
Yeah, legend at the bank, and a legend, a legendary, a legend at the bank, and a legendary Yank.
This, and I think safe it to say, this kind of feels like the Astros haven't recovered from that. They go out in 2 last year to a Tiger team that, on paper, they were better than.
Mm-hmm.
Bregman leaves, and then this year they missed the playoffs for the first time in a decade.
And they blew a pretty big division lead.
Yeah,
I know we talk. I'm not sure. It wasn't to the level of like the lead that the Tigers blew to the Guardians or anything like that. But they were up at least 5 games on the Mariners,
and much later at that.
Yeah, and very late.
And I'm sure, and if you talk to an Astros fan, I bet they would tell you, yeah, if we win that series, we beat the Diamondbacks. And
oh yeah,
kind of hard to disagree with them. So yeah, it's going to be one of those things where people are going to look back and go, yeah, that Astros team was dominant and they won too, but
they could have.
They left a few on the table.
Yeah, they did leave a couple on the table. I mean, yeah, I think if they get there in 23, they probably win it. I do think the Braves were the better team in that World Series in 21.
Yeah. I can't call that an Astros choke, but if you're an Astros fan, you got to be thinking, man, we were there. We needed 2 more wins. Like what could have been done differently? And
you probably feel like, damn, should have won that.
Yeah, not like 19 was there. 20, it's hey, if we finish a 3-0 comeback, like what would have stopped us in the World Series? And that's
if they finish that 3-0 comeback, then the Astros are absolutely a dynasty. But instead, they're not a dynasty, but they are the team of the, they're basically like the team. They're the team of the late 10s, early 20s.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like, does anybody really call the Giants I guess you probably do have to call the Giants the team of the 2010s, even though like after 2014 their contending was done.
Right.
So I don't know what you do there.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people may have thought that the Giants were going to do it again in 2016 until they ran into the Cubs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but for 2024, we can reflect on more happy wild card memories for you.
Oh man,
you close this thing out.
To me, I feel like you could pick the wild card series or the NLDS, and you would have a winner there. But I know why the wild card is picked as the winner here. All 3 games. Game 1, the Mets score 5 in the 5th, and I mean, doing it off pure adrenaline because
they had the 2-game playoff against they had those 2 games on that Monday against the Braves.
Well,
to get in.
Remember, they play the game. I believe they played Tuesday in Atlanta the week before. Then Wednesday and Thursday, the hurricane comes through. So they're not going to, we're going to have to come back and make these up. And then Friday, they go to Milwaukee, lose the first 2 games of that series. They win on Sunday to make sure that they're going to play that doubleheader in Atlanta on Monday.
Yep.
Then Lindor hits the home run in game 161. Then they got to go to Milwaukee and play again on Tuesday. So they're running on fumes here. And they score 5 in the 5th as Luis Severino deals. And they win 8-4. Game 2, kind of an underrated classic here. The Mets are leading 3-2 going into the 8th, and then the Brewers spring to life. I believe it was against Phil Maton. It was. Jackson Chourio leads off with a home run, and then Blake Perkins singles, but then William Contreras hits into a double play, and you're like, okay, still got a chance to win this thing. Willie Adames singles, and somehow Garrett Mitchell, of all people, homers to make it 5-3, and the Mets just have no chance against Devin Williams in the 9th. We'll see if that holds. And then Jose Quintana.
Yeah, Devin Williams said not tonight, but maybe tomorrow. Yeah, Jose Quintana pitching an elimination game in the big 2024.
Ironically, pitched to NLCS Game 4 tonight. But anyway, he comes out after he comes out after 7. And Jake Bauers pinch hits for Rhys Hoskins' bitch ass because he put up a bagel for the series, and I will never let people forget this. But Jake Bauers homers to start the inning, and I think I mentioned this on the show after the series last year. But they kept replaying the Bauers home run, and I'm like, oh man. And then I looked at him like, no, that couldn't have been another. No. Sal Frelick homers, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Both off Jose Butto. Edwin Diaz ends up coming in this 7th inning. Very nearly gives it away. He walks Bryce Turang, who steals second, walks Blake Perkins. They both steal an extra base, and now it's 2nd and 3rd. But he K's William Contreras to keep it at 2-0. And it goes to the 9th. And at this point, the Mets had 2 hits in the first 8 innings. And I remember genuinely being on the phone with my friend and being like, well, you know what? Hell of a run. You know, it sucks that this is how it ends, but like, hey man, I'd rather lose in the wild card round than have our season end in Atlanta in game 162. You know what? Like, what a great effort by these guys.
Yeah.
And Francisco Lindor gets a walk to start the inning against Devin Williams. And then
it's always the leadoff walks. Those are always trouble, especially for Devin Williams. As Brandon Nimmo learned firsthand.
And then Brandon Nimmo singles up the middle, and Lindor goes to 3rd. And it's like, all right, this is good, but like we still got to get 3 runs. And I will never forget when the ball, before the camera angle changed, Pete hits it the other way, and I'm like, all right, at least that'll be a sacrifice fly. All right, but it's 2-1, but all right. And then Sal Frelick keeps going back, and I'm thinking, all right, at least get to the wall. Like maybe Nimmo can score from first. And it wasn't until I saw the Mets bullpen jumping that I'm like, my God. Because remember, I have my headphones on because I'm not going to listen to the broadcast. And it wasn't until I saw the Met bullpen jumping up and down that it's,
holy shit.
Oh my God. And then thankfully the Mets alertly tacked on after that. They got another run after that. Jesse Winker spikes and breaks his helmet on the plate to the delight of Milwaukee. Sarcasm. And then you realize, oh, well, wait, they just had Edwin Diaz get the last 6 outs. And he had just thrown like 50 pitches the day before. Like, there's no way they're having him pitch the 9th inning. That's malpractice. But like we've emptied our bullpen. Like, who's pitching this? And it's David Peterson coming to get a save, which I've still never heard. Like, when was the last time David Peterson came in for a save? It had to have been in college at the very earliest.
Right.
But Sal Frelick singles to start, and it's no. I just remember thinking, like, please don't do it. Like if we lose, we lose. But, like, it can't be like this. Like,
no.
The way we end up losing later on it was so much easier to digest than if we had lost here. Like, you can't tell me we came back again and then you're going to pull the rug like this.
Yeah, like,
when he strikes out Joey Ortiz and Bryce Turang hits one to short that Francisco Lindor handles himself, and add another chapter to the book. Maybe I'm sure people can point to other crazy weeks in Met history, but there have been few weeks that have been more joyful than basically that Sunday to Saturday from the Sunday in Milwaukee where they forced the doubleheader through that next Saturday when they beat the Phillies in game 1. I'm not sure there's ever been a more joyful week as a Met fan than what accrued in those 7 days.
Yeah. No, I agree. And yeah, I think for me, this is definitely, I mean, I was thinking because I mean, as far as last year's playoffs go, like the only other series that kind of came to mind or like kind of came close was like, for me, it was between this Mets wild card series or Dodgers Padres NLDS or Guardians Tigers ALDS, because the World Series obviously was a bit of a stinker. Yankees being in the Guardians in 5 was fun for me, and that series did have some bangers for games, but at the end of the day, it was still a 5-game series. But yeah, for the Mets to walk it off, or not walk it off, but for the Mets to win that series in the fashion that they did, with Pete Alonso hitting that home run, who at the time was like an unlikely hero because he had kind of a shitty year, and people kind of thought like this is it for Pete. And then like there's that one tweet where the guy's like tweeting through the at bat. He's like, you fucking idiots think Pete Alonso is about to have like a WWE moment. Like you're about to learn.
Pleasing, I believe.
And then he was just like, who?
Pleasing 72, I believe, is the guy.
Yeah, you would know better than me, I think. But then, I forget
wild shit.
Yeah, he was like, "You guys think there's going to be a WWE moment? Like you're about to find out." And then, like he tweeted something else in between it. And then after he hit the home run, he was like, "Give him $200 million."
Yeah. That's pleasing. All right.
Yeah, so I felt like that summed it up pretty well. Yeah, and then for David Peterson to come out and lock the door, and to make to continue that run that the Mets had in 2024. For me that series definitely takes the cake.
I mean that is, this might be something that we have to do. Is I mean it's probably tougher for Yankee fans because there's so much to pick from. You might have to just boil it down to your lifetime, but in Met history, I'm not sure there's 10 home runs more dramatic than that. Like sure, the Grand Slam single, the Piazza 9/11 home run. I mean, there's a few, I'm sure, but there ain't 10 bigger than what Pete did that night. I mean, that is a legacy-defining home run, and in multiple ways, because if Pete doesn't hit that home run, he probably doesn't come back to set the franchise home run record.
No, he doesn't.
I'm pretty confident in that.
Yeah, it definitely had a domino effect. Who knows? I mean, do you think? I mean, obviously money talks, but do you think that if Pete Alonso doesn't have that moment and the Mets don't go on that run to the NLCS where they're in a position where it's like, hey, we almost made the World Series. We were 2 games away. Do you think Juan Soto still signs if they just lose in the wild card round? I mean, he still might because of the money, but if everything that he said was true, or that he felt, or that he said that he felt was true about the Mets being, the team that's going in the better direction, that has like the better present and future. Like, would that have held up as well if the Mets don't win this series?
No, that's probably a fair point, because, and I think I mentioned this after the signing last year. It's like, if the Mets just have a run of the mill season, that it's probably not as appealing. But I would guess that, when you get to the NLCS and you do it how the Mets did in such dramatic fashion, the game in Atlanta, this game, knocking off your heavily favored division rivals. I think all of that went into Juan Soto's process. The money is the money, but like there had to be some baseball reasons that went into that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this run probably had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, I'm sure it helped. Yeah, and then as an added bonus, I would say, even though 2025 is not over yet, I would say that, if we're picking one for 2025 to this point, got to be Mariners Tigers, which we had the pleasure of watching live about a week ago.
Mariners Blue Jays making a real strong case right now.
They are. Well, we'll see what happens this next game or two. I'm hoping the Mariners close it out, but I don't know. I know we both said Blue Jays in 6, so our that prediction is toast. But it'll be a good couple of games here coming up.
And next time we're on air, we might be doing a World Series preview. I'm assuming.
Yeah, no, I think we definitely will be next time we record. But until then, I am going to sleep, and I'm sure you are too.
Yes.
But thank you for bearing with us in this. Obviously, these wild card marathon episodes are a little longer than usual because just so much to go through. But hopefully, if you've listened to this point, first of all, thank you, and hopefully you found it to be worthwhile, and hopefully you enjoyed listening to it as much as we've enjoyed talking about it.
This was a lot of fun.
It has indeed. And with that, we will bid you adieu, and we'll see you again after the next 30 years. Peace.
See ya.